Hi, Maddie.
Hello,
How are
Hayley. How are
you?
you? Oh, how are you?
Go.
Yeah.
We're good.
Chaos. Christmas chaos.
Yes, we're all ADHD, overstimmed, excited, festive.
All the shenanigans. I'm very good. How are you?
I am very good, thank you. I'm pleased to see you.
Yeah, I'm doing well.
So, today we're going to talk about something, and it's a little weird to explain, but I'm going to give it a good go. We have a topic, and it's something that when I learned this and figured it out, it made a difference in my life. And it's
Right.
something that has come up occasionally in my coaching. And it's a really unusual but little beautiful process. And so I wanted to give some time to this today and
Yeah.
talk about this a little bit. And so it's difficult to give you a headline of what the topic is. I'm just going to talk. But
Crack on.
essentially, sometimes we start to associate negative feelings to other people, places, and things, and
Right.
it can become unhelpful. And so I'm going to give you an example of how this shows up
Mm-hmm.
and what I'm suggesting we do instead. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, me and you've got bad backs,
Mm-hmm.
well documented. So in the period of time when my back was really bad, really bad, and I was struggling to walk, and I'd had to stop hairdressing and all the things, and I was so mad at my back. I was so
Mm-hmm.
frustrated and so angry with my body for
Yeah.
letting me down. And eventually, I must have read something or had this thought, or who knows where, I decided that actually my back had tried really hard and had really supported me through difficult times and was actually doing its best. And it needed as much love as I did. And so instead of thinking it as this separate thing from me that I was mad at, I
Mm-hmm.
decided to be grateful to it and to actually take care of it and throw some love at it and
Mm-hmm.
say, thank you. It's been rough, hasn't it? I'm going to
Yeah.
look after you now. And things really turned around mentally for me around this tough time I was having when my body was packing in, really. Um, so sanity wise and mood wise, this felt much more productive. Like, oh, I need to take care of this, which
Mm-hmm.
felt much better than being angry and sad and all that sort of stuff. But actually, I started to turn a corner because I actually started to invest in it instead of being stuck in anger.
Yeah.
Okay. So I feel that's a real tangible example,
Yeah.
you know?
I totally relate to that in the hashtag bad back gang. Being really
Yes.
pissed off if you had a bad, you'd have that sort of twinge and you'd be just in a rager. And actually, it's kind of reminded me of the episode we did on ADHD where we talked about how you can be a little bit furious with how your brain works or a little bit mad, and
Yeah.
the same thing applies. That idea of what am I grateful for in this, in how it
Yeah. What's good
works,
about my ADHD?
what's good about it, and how can I be compassionate and loving and appreciate it and giving it what it needs rather than bashing it with a stick. So yes, hard relate.
Yes. And so
Yeah,
it's a bit gratefulness, but it's essentially about showing love to things or
yeah.
people or body parts that you're bad at or that you
Tell
associate with something bad.
tell me more when you said about places. So I get the whole body type stuff. I can kind of get a bit of the person stuff, but tell me about the sort of physical things, places, spaces.
And so I was coaching a client of mine who was really burnt out. And she was telling me, we'd been working together a lot weekly for a long time, for a period of time. And she said to me, she was a freelancer with a space and she was extremely burnt out. And when we were talking about her starting to go back to work as things started to improve, she started to say things like, I think I'm going to have to get a new space so I can have a new start and move on. And as we talked about this more, what we discovered was she'd started to associate a bad time in her life with the space where she works. It's where she'd gotten burnt out. And other stuff that was going on in her life at the time, it all started to be associated with working in that space. And so her strategy was, although this felt like a massive job, I can never go back there.
Yeah.
That feels like a bad place. I'm going to have a fresh new start to be able to do this. And I just thought, that seems like a lot. Like, surely we could think of something better. And it just popped into my head this day. And I said to her, do you know what? That space has really worked hard for you. And it's been through a lot. And I think it really tried its hardest to support you. And I think you might have neglected it a little bit as well.
Yeah.
And she was like, And I said, what if you showed your space some love and said, thank you. It's been rough. We've been in this together, but I'm going to show you some care and attention now and look after you. And she was like, oh. and I just watched her change into, oh, yes. And so we came up with this beautiful thing where she was going to go into her space with a couple of her friends and clean it, say thanks, little lick of paint, rearrange her stuff, get some essential oils going. I talked about reclaiming the space and looking after it. And so it's a combination of saying thank you, recognizing it had been tough, and pouring some love into the space instead of being mad at it and associating it with something.
Yeah.
And there is something in a little bit of a way here where we're making inanimate objects have feelings.
Yeah, I mean, I'm here for that.
But I'm all right with that. Metaphor wise, I find this is a really good way to turn a corner when you're stuck sometimes.
Yeah.
And I thought this was it works well. And I'll never forget this work with this client. It was great. And I really liked it. And she took it on board, and, that was really nice. And so that really prevented her from having to make even bigger decisions and big life-changing things. It was more of a shift and a move towards gratitude and love and, all of that. And so I think it's also about things like, I say this when I'm teaching leadership to people. It's about having compassion for people when they're maybe getting on your nerves, and saying, what if I think they're doing their best? So, when we relate it to other people, often when people are getting on our nerves, we think they're not trying hard enough.
Yeah.
They're not focused enough. They're, whatever. But if we come from a place of, I think this person is doing their best, things change. And so I've coached leaders sometimes, and they're talking to me about frustrations with staff. And when I've just sort of said to them, what would you be doing for this person if you knew they were trying their hardest? And they kind of do what you just did, Maddie, when I was talking about the salon, the space. You go,
little head
you
tilt.
just think, oh no,
Yeah.
I'd be explaining it differently. I'd be doing, there's this shift of wanting to take care of something or someone when you think they're doing their best.
Yeah.
And so I think this is a lovely mindset shift that can be used in lots of different ways for people, places, and things.
Definitely.
Yeah,
And
I like it.
I love it. You've just reminded me, I read something recently it was on Instagram or something. And it said, it's like a quote saying, how can we be the most generous with this person's intentions and effort? And
Yes.
it's that sort of vibe, like how, because it's funny, isn't it? We would always think we're doing our best. If you asked us, we'd always swear blind, like, well, I'm trying, I'm not trying to be pedantic or lazy or difficult, yet we don't afford the same thing necessarily to other people. So I thought that was such a lovely way to sum it up.
I think it's exactly the same thing, isn't it? What if we believe they're doing their best? How can we be generous and presume that they're doing their best? It
Yeah.
is. And when we think that, when we presume the best in people, it's much easier to move through the world. That's what I
God,
think.
yeah, I
And
bet.
and you move to solutions faster.
Yes. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Rather than
This is what I
clashing,
think.
button
Yes.
heads. Yeah.
All of this. And so this is a really powerful tool I found, particularly when I'm coaching salon owners.
Mm-hmm.
When we frame things through the what if they're doing their best, things really change, and they start to realize things that, like, or maybe I just didn't explain it well enough.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they're not really sure what they're supposed to be doing. And things move, solutions happen, win wins,
Mm-hmm.
and compassion starts to flow,
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think pouring love on things is a great strategy. I just think it is.
Oh, I
I
love it.
know. It's so nice.
Yeah, because you might get people. I love what you say about the solutions focused. I'm a big
Hmm.
solutions kind of gal.
You're the
I
strategy
love,
person.
yeah, and I love an easy life, and I love a um if I'm big into responsibility and being an active participant in your own success rather than passively or reactively sitting there and going, well, it's their fault and they're a knobhead and they're not trying hard
Hmm.
enough and they're trying to and wind me up. Like there's something, obviously, you coach inside a breakthrough with me, and we do like the win-win-win. So it's like,
Hmm.
how can we make this work for me, for you personally, for your business as like a separate entity, and for your clients? That's something we really strive for,
Yes.
because we tend to see people
I love
go,
that.
I'm going to make it great for my clients, but that sucks for me. Or the business is making loads of
Yeah.
money, but I'm absolutely mangled, or whatever. So,
Yes.
and I think that's a good rule
Yes.
for life. I really strive for this, like, how can everyone come away from this better off? So that it
Oh, I
kind of
mean, that
reminds
leans
me.
into our left leaning values as well, doesn't it? How come this be good
Exactly
for
this.
everyone?
Yeah, so it sounds like, as always, yet again, we're doing the strategy stuff, but we're really shifting the mindset stuff as well. Is that fair to say?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly that. I think it is. It's a total mindset shift. It's like looking at it from a different perspective.
Mm-hmm.
It's like other people's perspective, or, again, making inanimate objects things and have
Yeah.
feelings. But I think that really works. And so, it's exactly that. When I shifted from anger at my back to compassion for all it had been through,
Mm-hmm.
it was just so much nicer. And I actually actively started taking care of my back, but actually myself, instead
Yeah.
of being stuck in anger. And, I have another example of, there was a period of time in my life where I was so desperate to move out of my house.
Mm-hmm.
And I was so mad that I lived where I lived, and I was desperate to move and I couldn't because of, oh my God, negative equity and
Mm-hmm.
financial crises and what have you. And so I got really stuck in that. And what happened was I stopped doing nice things to my house because I was in this one foot out the door place. I just
Yeah.
kept
I get
thinking,
that.
I'm not staying here, so I'm not getting a new bathroom. I'm not staying
Mm-hmm.
here, so I'm not getting a new front door. I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
tolerate that one that's been on there for 15 years that the last people bought, that's absolutely awful, because that would be a waste of money.
Mm-hmm.
And then the same thing happened where I just thought, Hayley, be grateful for this house that you have. You have a nice house. Nothing big's ever gone wrong with it.
Mm-hmm.
This might not be where you thought you would be at this time, but actually, you bought this by yourself. It's nice. And I made a decision to spend some money on a few of the things that I'd really been wanting, like a new front door, and I got the loft boarded, and I did a few things I'd been thinking about for literally years.
Yeah.
And I was more grateful to this house instead of being angry about the fact that I didn't wasn't living where I wanted to live or whatever it was. And everything felt better,
Yeah. You poured the
instead
love
of
on
just
it.
living in this resentful place. I poured the love
Yeah.
into it, I did. I poured the
Oh.
love into it. And it felt better and I felt happier and, all of that. And so I think I like making inanimate objects have feelings.
Yeah. Oh, I always like,
It
what's
works for
is
me.
it called? Anthropomorphizing things. Is that what the term is when you make things into like
I
human?
don't know.
Is that, maybe it's
But
not?
I
Sounds good.
people do it in comedy a lot. When people do it in comedy, I find it really funny.
Hmm.
Like when they give inanimate objects feelings and voices, I find it
Yeah,
funny,
I do. I
you
love it
know.
in. I love it in ads, in like TV adverts when they'll make something. Basically, just put googly eyes and make something really cute, but that's not a human. I'm
It
like
really amuses me. Yeah,
the
at this time of year, I often make reels about the Quality Street tin, if the Quality
yeah.
Street tin could
Oh, it
talk.
was so good. Oh, I hope,
I
yeah. I
love
hope
it.
these make a comeback. Yeah, that's.
Every Christmas. It makes me laugh stuff like that, and
Mhm.
so I think that's why it speaks to me doing
Yeah,
this,
yeah, yeah.
but
It
I
all
I
makes
really
sense.
hope it would speak to somebody listening. It
Yeah,
might just click something in their brain and think that's what I'm doing. I
yeah,
need to pour some love on it.
yeah.
Yeah. And so what about you? Like, have you got any examples you can think of where you've done this, or maybe why you need to do this? Like, do
Yeah,
you
so what
think?
sort of springs to mind is Aidan, my wonderful husband, works with me, and he has done since
Hmm.
the lockdown, since August 2020. And when I try to explain to him my processes, my ways of doing things, because I got him onto like a lot of sort of admin back of the business stuff. Um, God love him, because my brain is like wet spaghetti. It all makes sense to me, but to try and explain that to another person, and I could see, although there was like a frustration in, I'm trying to explain it, he's not getting it how I'm explaining it. I could totally see that he was trying his best, because he always tries his best. So we were able to sort of find a solution and get that sort of win-win. This is my way of teaching. That's maybe not working for you. How would it work for you to learn this? So we kind of tried a few things until it worked. Um,
Yes.
until we could find that win-win, rather than assuming bad intent. Like, luckily it was him, and I knew his intent was good. But I can totally see that when people hire, especially into sort of supportive roles, like it might be you hire an assistant, a receptionist, a VA, a social media manager, and the assumption is they're lazy, they're not working hard enough, they're not motivated, they're not trying. And I see
They're not
that so much,
listening.
yeah, so much in
Hmm.
leadership. And yeah, it would be so nice to see people shift to like, what if they are trying their best, and how can we approach this with this kind of compassion and win-win
Exactly
and
all of this.
solutions? Yeah.
It is. It's about the intent. And I think we assume other people's intent a lot.
Yeah.
And if we could just assume that they have good intentions, it's much easier to put some love, compassion, and time into that,
Yeah.
And so this works in really weird ways, but you can apply it to people, places, things, your body, areas, how's it, all sorts of things. If you're stuck and you're making negative associations with something, someone, if we try and think about it in a compassionate way, I think things really turn around. And so I'd be really interested to hear from anyone listening to this if this gives you an aha moment.
Yeah. I can see someone
I'd really
driving,
love to
listening
hear
in
that.
their car that's a bit leaky and a bit broken, and just hopefully feeling grateful for all the journeys that it took you on, and then everywhere it got you to before
Yeah,
this.
it's trying its hardest. It's old. It keeps
Yeah.
going.
Yeah, it
It's
keeps
doing its
going.
best to keep you
Yeah.
moving. It is stuff like that. And so I found that really helpful in my life. And so,
Yeah.
yeah,
I love this. What
let's.
a lovely topic. Beautiful.
I know. I just thought touchy feely for the end of the year is nice, isn't
Yeah,
it?
we
And
need it.
so let's hyper focus, Maddie.
Mm.
Festive hyper focusing.
Festive edition. Okay, okay, okay.
Festive
Well,
edition. What have you got?
my festive edition, it kind of starts a couple of months before Christmas, because my festive hyper focus, Haley, is festive themed foods. And in particular, when there's no real link to the festivities, it's a very tenuously festivized food. They do the same with Halloween. I'm a big fan of Marks and Spencer's. They do a very cute little thing that's looks like a walnut whip, but it's not. It's got caramel in it, and it's got like a little,
Yeah.
I don't know, what do you call it, marshmallow thing. And regardless of the season, they will just bang some different brand in it on it. So it's got like it's got normal season version, then it's like a festive whip, and they might put a little bit holly on the top. There's a Halloween version. But I love when all of the supermarkets bring out their food catalogue. It's like the olden
Ah,
days Argos circling things. I just honestly, I
yes.
just love it because it's such a nice time of the year to just be like, mince pies, I'll have 20. I don't drink, but there's a non-alcoholic
Yes.
Baileys. It's like a Schneid alcohol-free Baileys,
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh,
which I
God, you just drink pints of
love.
it.
All of the food and drink stuff surrounding Christmas is just my favorite thing ever. So I'm just
Nice.
gobbling it all up. Yeah, and I'll be sad when it all goes. So
Yeah, so
that's my
you're
hyper
like, it doesn't even
focus.
have to be Christmas food. It just needs Christmas
No,
branding on it and you're in.
they could rebrand anything. They can be like it could be like a festive fondue or like Santa's I don't know, brie and cranberry, whatever, and I'll be like, yeah, man, it's Christmassy enough for
in,
me. Get it in the
in.
basket. Yeah. I just
That's
love
so
it.
funny. I think you're
What's
going to
yours?
like mine.
Okay, okay.
Around this time of year, I like to get fully obsessed with Oprah's favourite things list. Have you ever heard of it?
Oh, I've heard of it. I've never actually looked at it, so I need this on my
Honest to
agenda.
God, Oprah's favourite things list it's the best thing ever. It's like I can't remember how many things are on it now, because I've not looked at it since last year.
Mm.
But I'm going to get deep into it soon. It's like clothing, books, products. I mean, it's endless, but it's all bit bougie.
Mm.
It's like her favourite track pants,
But they'll be
and
like
people are clamoring
luxurious.
to be on Oprah's
Oh, I
favourites
bet.
list because like things just sell out. But you
Mm-hmm.
see it a lot on Instagram. Like you'll see some tracky bottoms being advertised, and it'll say was on Oprah's favourite things list, but it's not. They're a snide version because
Rude.
they're always a boot. But they make dupes of things a lot that are on Oprah's
It's a
favourites
big
list.
deal. I
It's bougie brilliance, and it's like if you're short of ideas for Christmas,
oh,
it's a really good place to have a little look at.
I
Yeah,
also just love listicles, they call them, don't they? I love them.
listicles.
I love travel ones. I love gift lists. I just love all the Christmassy things. But
Mm,
really, what I'm hearing you say, Haley, is that Oprah's favourite things is essentially our hyper focus of the week
yes,
put on a website.
yes.
So if
Like I think
anyone's
that's
clamoring to
Oprah's
get on,
hyper focus.
yeah, hyperforepraxis. No, that doesn't work. We need to.
We'll
Someone needs
workshop
to.
that.
Yeah, well, that's a 2024 problem. It's. I mean, I love this stuff. I love lists because it gives us new hyperfocuses that we could never even comprehend before. And now
I've got
I want
this.
to get on the list
Well,
desperately.
I would like to be on Oprah's list. Could we get
Imagine.
our podcast onto her favorite things? I'm not. I think it's not. I'm not. It's more of a purchasable.
Got
It's
you.
all purchasable
Things.
items. Like
Yeah,
you want to get on there. She might have a rucksack.
that's it.
She has
Get
things
on that
like
stack.
amazing suitcases. Like we could really get on board with that.
Okay,
It is
okay.
really good. But I've just got this vision of little Maddie as a kid getting the Radio Times and circling her favorite programs. Do you know when you get
Oh,
the Christmas Radio Times?
me mum used to work for Little Woods. I don't know if that's like just a northeast thing or if it's everywhere, but it's like a little Schneider
Yeah,
Argos.
Little Woods.
And she would bring the catalogue, and because we'd get discount, we should obviously get staff discounts, so we were. And I mean, I would write them down. I would write them on a bit of paper. I would put the prices on. I would tally up the prices. Very early spreadsheet calculator days, and obviously there'd be like thousands of pounds worth of stuff, which we definitely wouldn't get. But it is that vibe. That's why I love my Christmas catalogues. I remember getting like the studio catalogue, those sorts of things. Oprah's list.
Yes.
Anyone who's
Better
done the
wear
effort,
catalogue.
yeah, collated a list, get them in my inbox now. I can't wait. I love that. Well,
Oh, that's brilliant.
and I want to hear everyone else's as always. I would like to just do an additional segment if that's okay, since we're being festive and end of the year sort of vibes,
Oh, go on.
we are going to take a little short break, a well-earned rest from the poddy, and we shall be back on New Year's Day, 7 in the morning. If you're still on a bender from the night before, good morning.
Yes, we'll be here at 7 in the morning, not live.
Not live. I'll probably be up and about. Should we do something cheesy and do a 2-woman gratitude circle? End of the year.
I'm here for it, Maddie.
Okay.
I'm here for it. So do you want me to think of something I'm grateful for?
Yeah.
Okay.
What are we grateful for? You got one?
Yeah. Do you want me to go first?
You go first and I'll think of mine.
You're like, I've thought of the idea, but I've not thought what I'm grateful for yet.
Yeah, that's...
I'm grateful to our producer, Lily.
Oh,
I am like eternally grateful to Lily.
Yeah.
Because Lily Hazel, who produces our podcast, edits it, all the things. She does everything that's not me and Maddie talking.
Yeah.
And I am eternally grateful to her for doing a great job and making this really easy for us. So I think she deserves a shout out.
I think she does. And you've reminded me who I'm grateful for. I am, of course, grateful for Timely, because they've been so kind to partner with us for these seasons. We love them. Like, we would never partner with anyone that we think is like bullshit, and they are absolutely not. We were lucky enough to meet them in person back at Salon International. And it's, again, this wouldn't probably exist without them. And just everyone, obviously grateful for you, Hayley, because we wouldn't do this by ourselves, I don't think.
No, grateful for you.
For the
grateful
listeners.
for people that listen and comment.
Yeah. And download,
share
and
us in their stories.
It is, but like, genuinely, it's meant to have both the platform to be able to share all of this stuff that we're sharing, to have people who want to hear it, and also be in a position with our businesses that we are able to spend time and do something like this, to be able to give something. It was really important for us to give something out for free, as a means for, like, being in our world and part of our conversations and stuff. That was super important as big old socialists. So just the whole poddy, really, I'm buzzing that we did it, and that the people who help us to make it a thing have done that as well.
Yeah.
Aww.
Well, I enjoyed our 2-woman gratitude circle. It's beautiful. I feel all warm and fuzzy, Maddie.
I know. Go and have a festive camembert tree or something.
Yeah, I'm deep into the mini rolls and Yule log situation, really.
So good, honestly. I love when they make anything into a wreath. Savoury, sweet, cheese, meat, don't matter. Sling it in a wreath shape.
Yes.
Triple the price.
Oh, I do. I do love that. I do as well. Well, let us know what you're eating, folks. What are your Tell us what you're eating, your festive hyper focuses.
Yeah.
And so, I'm going to say goodbye, Maddie. And we'll pick this conversation
Christmas
up in Jan.
And Happy New Year to everyone, and you and Babs and Jan, the whole crew. And I'll see you.
Oh, and Tilly and all the things.
Yeah. All right, I'll see you in a bit. Bye.
Take care. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, please like and subscribe. And don't forget to leave your thoughts in the comments.
Please support those who support us, and check out Timely, who we recommend is our favourite booking system for you. New customers can get 50% off their first 3 months with the code COFFEE50.